Thought I'd do a long-term review of a Kawasaki Versys 1000. Bought this bike in April, so it's 9 months old. It's got 13,000 miles on it now. Guess it's not really long-term, but long enough. A few things I've done to the bike. I added these highway pegs, taller windscreen. Wife likes that, it blows the wind over her head. Top box. One thing, the only thing that's really been wrong with it is the rotors were a little pulsy when you were tugging on them when going slow, and the technician happened to notice it when I had it in for a tire change, and he got with Kawasaki and he tested the run out, and it was a little bit near out of spec, so Kawasaki went ahead and said that they would put new ones on there, so that worked out okay for me. So that's really about all I've done to it. I'll put some ride footage on here, and you can get an idea what it's like. I'll talk more about it then.
I guess one other thing I forgot to mention is the cruise control, $7 cruise control. Press it down against the lever and it holds the throttle open. Pretty handy. And of course I got a GPS and a Sirius satellite. I like to listen to the radio. You can see the placement of the feet out there on the highway pegs. Quite comfortable. Like sitting on a chair, really. So your feet just slightly out in front. Well, I guess you can see we got a bug on the camera. Thought I'd show how the bike balances. Very nice, going very slow. Very light, nimble machine. Quite easy to control once you get used to it. Took me a little time. I'm actually used to bikes that are a little heavier steering, a little heavier, and this was quite a transition for me, as everything happens very quickly and without much effort at all. Here I'll just show a couple of sweeper type corners. You can see how nice and neutral the handling is. I mean, she just falls right into these corners. No fuss, no muss. The original tire that was on the rear was a Bridgestone T30. And when I would ride sweepers like this, it would want to push the bike wide, kind of understeer, so to speak. I've had a couple Continentals on it since then, and it no longer has that tendency to understeer. Yeah, you can see you couldn't fall into the corners and hold itself there any easier. I mean, it's just a remarkable machine in the handling respect. I'll show you a little faster, tighter corners here in a bit, but I mean, this is just an example of sweepers, and it's just a very nice thing. Like a hot knife through butter. Alright, so I thought I'd show you some slow speed maneuvering with the bike. It's a little bit top-heavy machine, but it can be done with a little practice. I actually got in a deer wreck last year and busted my leg all up, so it's been kind of hard to practice, especially the right-hand maneuvers, because I didn't have the strength in the leg to hold the bike up if it started to go over. But just recently I've been able to actually be strong enough to kick it back up when she starts to go. But you know, with a little practice, you can be smooth at it, and then you don't have to use your legs to kick around as much. But she will do it. Some horses, waiting on some traffic to get up. I'll show you a little bit tighter corner and how well she transitions through the tighter stuff. A lot of people think that it's too big to be able to manage in tight corners and too powerful and a lot of other nonsense, but it goes around tight stuff just as nicely as it goes around the big sweepers, and it's a very easy bike to handle. And so I thought I'd just give some more random thoughts here about the bike. One thing that's come up is the valve adjustments. They're due every 15,000 miles, and they've been in Europe for several years now, and so there's several people there that have put the mileage on and have actually done them at or before 15,000 miles and found that several were out of spec. So in that respect, it's probably a good thing to have that done. I know I've had a lot of bikes that I've gone a lot longer distance than that between valve inspections, but it sounds like this one probably does need it. The seat is very comfortable. At first I had to get used to it. Now it's good for 4 or 5 hours. Here comes a little bit of tighter corners again. I'll give it a little acceleration so I can see the bike working a little bit, the engine working a little bit. It's got a considerable forward motion when it needs to. So I guess the other thing I was talking about was the brakes and the rotors. Well, I had to replace the pads too. Kawasaki didn't cover that, but I got some new pads for it, and it turned out to be a good thing I did, because the pads that were on it were pretty much shot at 13,000 miles, so that's something to consider. I noticed the rear pad, which I tend to use a lot more of, especially cornering and things like that, is pretty good. I tend to use the front brakes to stop hard. I never used to actually have to use the rear brake. I've always had bikes that had engine braking sufficient, but this bike, like I said, everything happens very quickly with it. It doesn't seem to have a lot of flywheel effect or a lot of engine braking. So when you need to slow down coming into a corner too hot, it's necessary to tap the brakes a little bit. And I'm not a big fan of getting on the front brakes and diving the front end. I know that's racer stuff, but that ain't for me. I prefer the rear brake to do that kind of thing. So anyway, here I thought I'd give you another little demonstration of the acceleration of the bike. People seem to like that kind of thing, so tuck down a little bit, give you some engine noise. So anyway, I would say that for the money, it's a great bike. You know, my wife and I have been on week-long vacation, you know, with the saddlebags on. It holds easily a week's worth of stuff. That with a top box and very comfortable bike to ride. The engine, I don't know. It seems to be the theory that they get smoother as time goes by. I don't know if they get smoother, if I just get more used to it, but it does feel very smooth for an inline. And I've never been all that inclined to be a fan of inline fours, because they're usually too buzzy for me, but this one I don't have any problem with. So, for the money, I mean, we're living in a great age for motorcycles, because you can't get this kind of thing for the money ever before, in my opinion. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I would highly recommend the bike. I don't see how you can go wrong if you know, traveling and sporty type riding is in your nature. It's a great bike to do it on. So, hope you enjoyed the video, and Merry Christmas. Oh, by the way, this is a 2015. I think I forgot to state that at the opening of the video. See you later. Bye-bye.